The only resource that you can use is sewage. Something that is never ever going to stop. If there are humans on this earth, sewage is going to happen.
Water, the lifeblood of Earth, and yet we often take for granted this precious resource. Join us as we explore the critical importance of water conservation and the transformative potential of water recycling with Smita Singhal, founder, Absolute Water. Let's find out how Smita and her team are making every drop count.
We see such a large plant here at the Dell Technologies University. What really goes into an absolute water plant?
It's nature-based. It's zero chemical. We use wood chips, we use gravel, we use sand, and we have this whole sprinkler system as well over here, where we understood that there has to be equal dispersion. Since we use worms, we have to consider the fact that we have to protect them from birds and other animals that roam around in any urban area or a rural area. So we do a green netting, so we protect it from that. A plant like this, which is a 1 million litre day plant, we operate it for 20 hours in 3 shifts. And then once a year, we change the wood chips. And in that also, we don't shut down the plant completely. It's still running. So like you can see, we have 4 beds here. We'll shut down one bed, we'll clean it up, we'll replenish the media, then start that bed, shut the next one. So we're one of the only green technologies that don't shut down for maintenance. It's continuous. The best part of sewage is that it's 90% liquid. People will have to start adopting the fact, like most countries are now. We're talking about Singapore, we're talking about California, we're talking about Spain, South Africa. People are now beginning to figure out that fresh water is depleting.
Limited.
Not just limited, it's depleting. Salt water is very, very expensive to reuse because desalination plants, as we call them, are very expensive to set up. So filtration is the basic use of worms. This study came out from this professor in South America. And he basically came up with this fact of that if worms can be used for decomposing solid waste, like what we use for biocomposting, for food waste, why can it not be used for biocomposting sewage? We kind of adopted that study. It took about 1.5 years. And then in 2015, we set up our first pilot. We set it up in DJB. And there we kind of redirected 100,000 litres from their sewage plant. And we converted that into 85,000 litres of drinking water. We then, after that, came up with ozonation. It is something that can not just kill the bacteria and everything, but also kills viruses that come with, say, typhoid or malaria or any waterborne diseases, 99%. We are one of the only green technologies that does not create sludge.
So that causes wastage?
That causes wastage, that causes toxicity. You can walk through my plants, civil units or whatever. Again, because of the fact that you're eating up all the bacteria and the pathogens, it creates no odor. It runs on solar because it really needs 2 light bulbs worth of electricity to treat 100,000 litres a day. And the entire design is based on gravity. And we have done that on purpose so that we use less electricity. We are the only green technology that gives you the maximum number of uses of treated water. If you're talking on a financial level, it's literally 10 paisa per litre. That's all that we charge. This technology was designed in the beginning for drinking water. It was sewage to drinking water. That was the big USP when we started off. But clearly, there is a mindset issue. So that, I think, was the first challenge that we received. That how are you expecting us to drink water from this plant where you're treating something coming out of my toilet? Actually, when you think about it, 70% of your water usage is for everything else. Business models changed, strategy changed, marketing changed. We then really knew who to target. We're doing 2 projects in Indonesia through Water.org. When I went there, USAID met with me. They have figured out what we're doing with Water.org. They are wanting to now work with us. World Resource Institute also, we work with them. We've done a pilot for them at the University of Mumbai in the Kalina campus. That has also created traction because then your network grows within that community. If we're been able to market and target so-called residential or domestic sewage, what we call raw sewage, let's see what we can do with industries such as food, dairy, leather, sugar, and indigo dyeing. These are the 5 industries where we have put up pilots and they've been extremely successful.
You've been part of the Dell Women's Entrepreneurs Network community. You know how important it is to be part of such a community.
The wastewater industry per se, there are very, very few women. This is a massively male-centric industry, be it here or be it outside of India as well. So to stand strong and to have a voice is something that is very relevant. It is something that is very needed. The Dell Women's Entrepreneurship Network has given us that platform. They give you the confidence that, hey, you know what? You're on the right path and we're guiding you. We're going to hold your hand through this.
Smita, women founders के लिए आप क्या बोलेंगी? What are some things जो उनको अपने दिमाग में रखना चाहिए when they decide to start a business of their own?
सबकी बात मत सुनो. Basically is that अपना करो. Failure होगा. Business बंद होने की full क्षमता आएगी. You will always have peaks. You will always have lows. Have the brevity and the bandwidth to take that low to a high as much as possible. That's all I'm going to say to most women.
Smita, welcome to the hot seat. We are going to ask you rapid fire questions and we are not going to give you much time, so you have to think quickly and answer those. So the first question, what is the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
You be you. That was literally the best piece of advice I've ever had.
What's a common myth about water recycling that you would like to debunk?
Biggest is that if you think you can use the reject that comes out of your RO drinking water purifiers, you're absolutely wrong. That is toxic laden with chemicals. You cannot use it. If you're putting it in your plants, it's going to die.
Any surprising facts about water conservation that most people do not know about?
If you can employ a TDS meter, which is the total dissolved solids that you get, it's a 20 rupee little thermometer looking machine. If you can check that if it's below 200, you actually don't need an RO unit. You can just use UV light and your water will still be purified.
Wow. If you could collaborate with any company or individual in the world, who would it be and why?
Hands down Coldplay. Because I think they have changed the entire concert business, if I can call it, to run the concerts without any form of additional electrical requirement and also traveling sustainably. I would love to collaborate with them. And incidentally, I have written to them. Let's see if we get some response.
As we conclude our journey through the critical landscape of water conservation and innovation, one thing is abundantly clear. The future of our planet hinges on our ability to safeguard and manage our water resources wisely. For more such stories on innovation, disruption, technology, and entrepreneurship, keep tuned in to Mavericks, Change the Game, powered by Dell Technologies in association with YourStory.